there's generally 3 different types of chest flies you can do: dumbbell flies, cable flies, and machine flies like the pec deck. As you'll learn later on in this video, some of these options might be better than others. But for now, as we go through the mistakes and fixes, I'll make sure to show you how they apply to each one of these variations. The first mistake actually has to do with your biceps. I'll first use the dumbbell fly to illustrate this. At the bottom position, the straighter your arm is, the more tension will be applied to your chest. In fact, if we apply simple physics, if you move your hand about 50% further out from your elbow, it will result in roughly 50% more load on the chest. This is what makes the fly such an effective movement. You can highly stimulate your chest with less weight. However, the straighter your arms go, the more your biceps also get involved. Eventually, there comes a point where your biceps are starting to work harder than your chest is and will become the limiting factor in the movement instead of your chest. The same is true with a cable fly or a pec deck. So instead, at the bottom position, you want to keep a slight bend in your elbows such that your hands are just slightly outside your elbows. However, once you get to the top position, the opposite is now true. The main function of the chest is horizontal adduction, the act of bringing your upper arms together. So if you kept your arms bent, your upper arms wouldn't be brought together as far as they could be, and you'll be engaging less of the chest muscles and encouraging more of your shoulder muscles to take over. Instead, straighten your arms and think about squeezing your elbows together as you approach the end position. Here's how the proper form would look on all 3 fly variations. Simply focus on bent arms at the start position and straight arms at the end position. The next mistake has to do with something called the line of force. Let's first explain this with a cable fly. During this exercise, the direction of the cable will determine where on your body the force is being placed. For example, here the cable angle is set a little bit higher than the height of my head. Now at the end position, I want you to look and notice that the direction of the cable compared to my arms. They're not aligned. And as a result, the cable is pulling my arm up and my arm has to fight to pull the cable down as I perform the fly. This takes some of the tension away from the chest and puts it onto other muscles like the lats instead. On the other hand, here the cable height is set lower. At the end position, the cable is now pulling my arm down. In this case, my arm has to fight to pull the cable up as I perform the fly and take some of the tension away from the chest and puts it onto the front delts. So instead, to maximize chest activation, the direction of the cable needs to be aligned with the direction of your arms. You can play around with the cable height in your arm position until you get this right. Later in this video, I'm going to show you how a higher or lower cable setup would work and when you do that. But for now, just try this out and you'll feel the difference right away. Now the same applies with pec deck or even the dumbbell fly as well. In this case, however, since you can't adjust the line of force like you can with cables, you'll simply want to keep your elbows up such that your hands and your shoulders are always at the same height rather than letting your elbows drop down.